This is the College Football Connection Podcast with Alvin Reed, Bradford Bruns, and Marty Jenkins on 101 ESPN.
Those red-hot Redbirds still won't be back home for a hot minute. So let's shine that local spotlight squarely on the pigskin. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Bradford Bruns back with you on the 101 ESPN YouTube channel, as well as 101ESPN.com. Hope you had a fabulous Mother's Day weekend in the audience, wherever, with whomever you celebrated. It was gorgeous at that. We mentioned right off of the top, obviously, the Cardinals riding that 7-game winning streak going into Sunday's series finale against the Nationals. You have Philadelphia. You also have Kansas City on tap, so it is time to go back and really recap what you may have missed from back on, yes, I understand, April the 25th in the college football world. That's when the spring transfer portal window, it came to a close, and hey, give us a little bit of a free pass here. We had the NFL draft. We had so many different Mizzou products there in the mix, namely Armand Mimbu, Luther Burden III, and Marcus Bryant, not to be forgotten, selected as well in round number 7 by the Patriots. So Eli Drinkwitz and his staff at Mizzou definitely had a little bit of work to do as far as replenishing the cupboard with the spring transfer portal window commencing. So you had a couple of really key rotational pieces, especially along the defensive line from one season ago, opting to depart, specifically Eddie Kelly and then Ja'Kai Ling. So how would Drinkwitz and company go about the process of being able to stabilize that all-important position? You knew right away you would be losing a Christian Williams, a Johnny Walker Jr., both of whom, mind you, in case you missed our presentation from a couple of days ago, have now found homes at the NFL level with the same team, identical Denver Broncos there in the AFC West. But just a few days ago, it was made official, a big-time get, in my opinion, if for no other reason than to really evaluate it from a depth standpoint on the D-line. Bralen Henderson, who had 4 years of eligibility, exhausted, yes, at the University of Ohio, not the Ohio State, but he comes now in as a graduate transfer, and he adds to the depth on that line. You know that Chris McClellan, who last year came aboard from the University of Florida, he's going to be the most sterling, impactful individual you would think as far as being able to stiffen against the run and occasionally penetrate and get into the backfield. But for a position that was pretty light from a transfer perspective, entering the winter, that is, it is a big-time opportunity for the Tigers to land somebody of Henderson's ilk, potentially, who does move, not necessarily mountains, but can definitely engage in that penetration and be a load to handle it more than 6'2" and 300 pounds. Now, that position, that side of the football, accounted for in a lot of different ways. So let's talk about the offense, though, for a second, because you always wonder, okay, exactly who is Kirby Moore going to be able to bring in to be a new toy at his disposal? Well, he has several of them, or so it would appear, in just the last couple of weeks. The very first individual, as a matter of fact, to be able to ink, yes, a deal with Mizzou as a transfer addition in the spring window. He's pretty local insofar as he's just from the across-the-border area in Kansas. Gavin Hoffman, this guy is a load, physically speaking, at more than 6'5", 270 pounds, and he plays the position of tight end. Remind you of anybody else on the current MU roster? Yes, that's what I thought, and that's also why I believe it's essential to be able to land somebody like Hoffman too, because as much as you want to prioritize and really highlight the strengths of a Brett Norfleet, no doubt about it, guys, I truly believe if this individual ever were to get full health or anything approximating that, you're talking about somebody who could be all-America caliber. Seriously. Having said that, the litany of injury issues you've witnessed over the last couple of seasons alone does give you pause as to the durability there, and is that going to be somebody on whom you can rely for 10, 11, potentially 12 games? Hoffman comes in. He has all of his eligibility left because he didn't even play last season. He did not touch the field for the University of Iowa, and just over a year ago, he was the number 2 rated player coming out of high school in the entire state of Kansas. That is exciting, as is a wide receiver addition. We understand that the room is still absolutely filled to the brim there in Como. You lose Luther Burden III, goodbye Theo Weiss as well, but who's going to maybe be an accent piece, okay, for Marquise Johnson, for Manning, for so many of the underclassmen who would potentially be able to rise through the ranks and be able to garner that many more opportunities. You're adding somebody with experience in the form of Xavier Lloyd. Just a season ago, dipping down to the FCS level after not seeing the field a lot whatsoever, really at all, in Manhattan at Kansas State, and Lloyd went off. Yes, understand the level of competition. You understand the caliber there. Some would say lack thereof. But more than 60 receptions, more than 920 receiving yards. He was the #1 target at that program. And if you can mix him in accordingly already, along with so many high-profile 4- and 5-star recruits at the position over the course of the next couple of years, that is something that you are going to be so excited about when you know that the true #1 at the position, at least for one season, is going to be Kevin Coleman doing his thing, the local kid out of the slot. Still a couple of other pieces to get to here on this version of the College Football Connection. We talked obviously about Henderson. How about Hoffman for that matter too? And then Lloyd being able to shore up the wide receiving core for that matter, so much more as well. Well, the offensive line does remain a bit of, I don't want to say a quandary, but a question mark. And it has to, right? Out of necessity, when you're losing Armand Mimbu, and everybody knew that he was rising up, he was vaulting up of the ranks, so many draft boards, and he was rewarded accordingly. The #7 overall pick by the Jets there last week of April. Not to be forgotten, though, we mentioned Marcus Bryant just a few minutes ago. How about Cameron Johnson, a model of consistency on the right side at right guard for the Tigers as well. And with Connor Tollison still coming back from injury, not slated to really undergo or receive all of the reps as fall camp is slated to begin here in a couple of months, you would like to have a few more answers, okay? You would like to see more in the way of an emergence from a Caden Green, the much ballyhooed addition from a year ago out of Oklahoma. Well, the Tigers feel as if they may have found some answers, at least in the versatility department, because Jaylen Early, somebody who's coming from Tallahassee now, I fully am cognizant of just how putrid the Seminoles campaign was in 2024. We could not have possibly seen that sort of performance coming. But the versatility to be able to bounce out at guard tackle, he predominantly played on the right side. But with a body of work and experience there, and a considerable body at that, more than 6'5", 310, 320 pounds, who really knows? He has the opportunity to maybe develop, be molded, and grow into a spot on the left side. Is it going to be the Wake Forest transfer? Is it going to be Early? That remains to be seen, but these are very, very fun, exciting questions and possibilities to dissect as we have just a few months to go, guys, until fall camp, and then that opener on, yes, August the 28th, not the 30th. You're getting that Thursday night primetime showcase once again to open 2025 against, yes, Central Arkansas. Bradford Bruns with you as per usual on the 101 ESPN YouTube channel and 101ESPN.com. Come back with us just a few days from now. Hey, rest assured, we are going to put a bow on this conversation pertaining to revenue sharing for now and update you as to whether the House has made any more determinations. Settlements galore could not be happening. What about the playoff infrastructure? Is that also being modified as soon as this season? Spoiler alert, no. Get ready for 2026. Hey, BK and Ferrario, we talked about that a lot on the program on Friday. In case you missed any of it, head back to the podcast center on the website, 101ESPN.com. Get your fill of that, all things college football related, and the absolute gauntlet of sports here in the Midwest. Have a great rest of the week. Until next time, we'll catch you later, St. Louis.
Thanks for listening